Hey everybody, uh, thanks for coming, guys. It's great to see you here in the morning, Friday morning. We're very thankful that you guys put aside half an hour to be with us today. And we have some exciting news to share with you today. My name is Pavel Sima. I'm one of the co-founders and also CEO at ROIVENUE that has been doing attribution and data analytics for marketers around the globe since 2015. And today, what we want to share with you is big news, something that we were working on for 2 years, something that we've put thousands of development hours in, and also something that is actually based on hundreds of hours of, let's say, feedback interviews and different kinds of feedback that we have gotten from you guys, actually, because this webinar is exclusive. So it's not a public webinar. It is only pertaining and only open to you who are either currently our clients or who have been in touch with us in the past, and you've already probably seen our product. We've been in the conversations, and so I also don't need to spend much of your valuable time on introducing us as a company and what we do, because you know that very well. And the reason why we're all here today is to talk about ROIVENUE 2.0 and what are the biggest improvements that this is bringing to you and to your workflow and to your results. We really believe that based on the feedback, the very valuable feedback that we've gotten from you people over the past years, we have now built the best analytics, attribution, and optimization suite, especially for the e-commerce use case, which is now creating a large majority of our customers is e-commerce, and especially e-commerce retail, e-tail. So without further ado, let me go into a direct comparison, because you know very well and you've seen the version 1. So we will be directly comparing what's new in the second version with the first version on a split screen slide. And then I will also go into a live demo of the tool itself. And at the very end, if you guys are up for it, we can also take some of your questions. You can ask the questions directly here in the Q&A panel, directly here on Zoom, and I'll do my best to answer as many questions as possible towards the end. Okay, so what are the main benefits of ROIVENUE 2.0 over 1.0? The big thing that's happening is that we're introducing a completely new data-driven attribution model. We have been ranked by some independent reports top 10 global attribution vendors even before we made this upgrade, and we believe this upgrade pushes the frontier a little bit further still. This new algorithm is based on machine learning. It's based on recurrent neural networks. And its main advantages over the previous statistical models like Shapley value and Markov chains that we were using before is that it is much more robust. Meaning that you might actually remember that in the past, and we would always say, if you don't have more than 30 conversions per specific channel or campaign, the model might not be as reliable. The results might not be as reliable as we would wish. This is going away completely, because now we're calculating the results on the level of each session. So even if you have just like one visit or one session, that works, and the results are pretty robust and reliable. So that's a first improvement. The other improvement is that because we're calculating the outputs on the level of every session, we can then add it up, and you can have a look at your data through a lens of any dimension that you want. Previously, we were only calculating attribution on the channel level. So this is also a big step forward. And also it is calculating almost real time, whereas previously it would only be recalculating once a week. So these are big steps on the attribution front. Also, this new AI-powered attribution is helping to overcome a recent issue that sprung up, and that is high amount of people not consenting with your cookie bars. And this model, because it is looking at about 30 to 40 different variables, including things like not only where the session is coming from, which channel and campaign, but also its behavior on the website, how many minutes it spends on the website, which products is it looking at, and whether it puts something in the basket, in the shopping cart or not, which browser is the session coming from, etc. And the customers who are consenting and not consenting, they tend to behave very in the same fashion, actually. Then even if we're missing, let's say 20-30% of the data because of the cookie bars, we can actually extrapolate on the rest of the data with this new model, and it works as if we would capture 100% of the data. This is in line with what Google is saying as well, where they're saying they can do with 40% of the data is fine. So usually our clients have 70 to 90% of the data, and it still works great. And also the other thing, when we move away a little bit from the attribution model, the way you can look at your data is now really enhanced. It's really on steroids, I would say, in comparison with the first version, because what we really wanted to achieve for you with ROIVENUE 2 is versatility and flexibility in a way how you can look at your data. So any granularity is now possible, and you will see that shortly on the slides. So the first thing is that we really wanted you to be able to look at the data any way you want, because you have your workflows, you have your ways of thinking and working with your data. And we tried to eliminate as many artificial constraints that there were with the new data structures. So it starts with improvements. Some improvements are huge, and some improvements are more cosmetic, but they can also, we believe, help with the usability and the experience that you guys will have with the product. So starting with some small improvements, for instance, right now in the ROIVENUE 2, you can pick any date with a date range in a date picker. In the first version, if you remember, you can only choose a specific week. So that's one improvement. The other, something a lot of you were asking us for, is previous or custom period comparison. So now you can do stuff like year-over-year comparison, quarter-over-quarter, month-over-month, and you will see it, with the lighter colors overimposed over your current data, and you can easily compare. Again, something you've been asking us for since forever, to be able to switch to any time granularity that you like. So now you can do daily, weekly, monthly very easily, as opposed to only weekly that was in ROIVENUE 1. Of course, even in Revenue 1, we were offering different attribution models, like first touch, last touch, time decay, and the data-driven models. But switching between them was a little tough. You had to go into settings and you had to change it. Now, we pull that up and you can do it actually from any screen, and you can change and seamlessly go from one attribution model to the other. Continuing in, let's say, on the versatility and flexibility thread, I think maybe this is the biggest game changer that we have in Revenue 2, and that is you can now have as many dimensions, metrics, and KPIs as you like, and you can actually create your own, and you can layer one on top of each other. So as you can see, or if you can remember, in the first version, you only had 3 dimensions: sites, so you could switch between different websites, marketing platforms like Facebook, Google Ads, etc. And then a third was marketing channels, which was actually configurable and where you could actually go a little bit more granular with your data, but it was only one dimension. So for instance, if you wanted to change the way you look at the data, or you had multiple ways of looking at your data, you had to redo the channel mapping. So we only had one dimension to offer to you. Now that completely goes away, and with Revenue 2, you have unlimited number of dimensions that you can run, and you can run them in parallel, and they can even interact with each other. So as you can see here, for instance, right now in this example, we have 7 dimensions, but really the possibilities are endless. You can have as many as you'd like. This is also a big one, I'd say, and you were asking for this a lot, and because sometimes you were like, why cannot I see 3 different things in one chart? Which sounds like an easy thing to do, but if you think about it, not even some front-running BI systems would have this. So for instance, Microsoft Power BI, you cannot do this in Power BI, for instance, right? But in Revenue now you can. So for instance, you can be watching 3 different metrics or measures at the same time. So you can be looking at, let's say, how much you're spending, what's your revenue on that spend, and what's the relationship between those. So what is the ROI? And you can pull that all on the same chart. So you can really see a lot of context in one image, in one chart. What's completely new is a Dimension Explorer that allows you to dig deeper on any dimension and metric. So for instance, right, in this example, you can see that you can drill down on, let's say, dimension channel, and you can, for instance, visualize net revenue, and you will see on a bar chart and pie chart what is actually the breakdown of those in the selected time period, which is also really, really neat. And you can examine like this everything and anything that you're interested in. Now, you all probably know that we always prided ourselves on being a very open platform, so that you could put a lot of data in, but also everything you put in, you could actually export out as well. This stays, but it's even more enhanced in a way that you can get now even more data in, and with more ease, let's say, and you can get even more data out with more ease. So let me show you what I mean by that. In January this year, we have already launched a feature that, or actually it's a separate product now, that we call connectors. And we have now connectors to 30+ sources, and we're adding more and more every month. So we're enlarging the catalog of sources that you can connect to. And this allows you to connect to any marketing platform and get very easily data out of there. So we have tried this on new users, even marketers who might not be as technical savvy as their data science colleagues, for instance, and even with people who had no experience whatsoever with ROIVENUE, and they were new users, they were able to set up a connector within 2 minutes. So it's very easy to set up. There's an automatic refresh, so you would have your data refreshed automatically every single day. So in the morning, you can see data from the previous day. We even have a free plan, so everybody can try this out for free, up to 5 connectors. And you can export your data to a multitude of sources. So you can output to Google Sheets, and from there to Data Studio. You can do CSV, you can do SQL, you can also do Azure, and we're planning to add really soon also BigQuery. So and also JSON. JSON is already there, and from JSON you can go to Power BI, for instance. So you can download any data and really put it anywhere you like. It's very easy to set up. It takes a couple minutes. And then on the side of exports, what is new is that now you can define your own exports. In ROIVENUE 1, we only offered predefined data sets. I say predefined endpoints. So you could only download tables with certain structures. Now you can create your own structures. So in the wizard, you easily select all of the dimensions and metrics you want to have in your output, and then ultimately in your report, and you're good to go. And this is not only good because you can select whatever you want, it's also good because you can unselect what you don't want. And if you work a lot with BI systems, you know that if you have a lot of data there, it then takes a lot of time to load, sometimes it crashes, etc. So now instead of having 10 columns, if you, for instance, only need 2 columns in your report, you can just download these 2 columns, and you can reduce the amount of data that you need, that your system needs to process, and that can speed up your daily workflow, and then just make your life a little bit nicer as well. As you can see, we also worked really hard on the UI. So for instance, here on the right, you can see how a setup of exports looked in the first version. Now you can see in ROIVENUE 2, there is an easy wizard that you go for certain steps. You just select whatever you want, and then you click save, and you're done. It's very easy to set up. You will see, it works like magic. The other thing that customers were asking us a lot was a way to customize the product and the way they interact with the product. So we've also put that in. So right now you can, for instance, say on the user level, for instance, what currency you would like to have, and even if you are active in multiple markets with multiple currencies, we just translate everything into one currency that you choose, so that you can have a look at the data the way you like. You can customize which time granularity you want to have as a default, which attribution model. And you can even customize some things within the attribution models, and you can actually have multiple data-driven attribution models within ROIVENUE, and you can set it up easily yourself. Previously, such functionality was also there, but you would have to contact your client success manager. He would have to do it on the back end for you. Now you can do it actually yourself. Talking about customization, we should not forget, and then, it's maybe I'm repeating it, but I'm repeating it because this is really one of the biggest upgrades that adds a lot of value, and that is you can really customize your own dimensions. So you can see on the left, you can create the dimensions, and then all of the dimensions that you will create will be available in the filter panel on the right on almost every screen of the application. But also you can output these dimensions to data exports, as we were just looking at a minute ago. So for instance, you can, for instance, create a dimension with the C-Think Do Care model, and then you would have all the data from all the platforms, just like that. You can, for instance, create paid, unpaid. You can create something like, for instance, retailers, they like to really look at, let's say, time-bound campaigns or promotions like Black Friday or Cyber Monday and others. If we're talking with telco operators, they, for instance, run massive campaigns to promote a specific plan or to promote a specific flagship phone. So again, you can create a dimension where you could pull up, all of the campaigns that are related to this product launch, for instance. And you can easily click on and visualize it and also export it. And not only dimensions are customizable, but also we are bringing a new functionality of custom measures. So imagine you can now create any measure, any metric. If you think something like calculated metric in Excel, this is something similar. Obviously, ROI is something that is in ROIVENUE from the get-go, but if it wasn't, you could easily just say, hey, calculate net revenue minus marketing investment / marketing investment, and you would get to ROI very easily. So you can create any metric. You can also use constants. So for instance, if you know what's your average margin, you can just multiply revenue by your margin, and you can get to your profit really easily this way. So this is also really nice feature that opens up a lot of possibilities that were not previously doable. Now, these would be the main changes, and to summarize, we created this comparison of version 1 versus version 2, and also with GA, because we get a lot of questions from our customers and future customers about, so how are you guys different? What do you have on top of Google Analytics functionality? So this is, I think, a neat comparison of what we bring on top of that. Now, I'm not gonna elaborate on this too much, but for all of you who are watching, you're also recording this, and you will also get a recording, so you can then pause it here and you can study it in the detail if you'd like. But what I would like to do right now is to jump into the demo itself, as we promised to do, and show you guys how it looks, in the actual product. So currently we're looking at the Process Explorer, which in ROIVENUE 1 was called Performance Monitor, and which we know is one of the most used features and most liked features. Now, what is new here is, as I said, you can very easily toggle between daily, let's say weekly, monthly granularity. You can see that it is pretty snappy. The reload takes half a second. You can change attribution models. You can select different time periods, and you can even compare, let's say, with previous period. So now we can see the comparison here. You can even add a third measure, as I was saying. And what is really, really powerful now is the filters according to dimension. So when I pull up the filters, here you can see, for instance, starting from the basic ones. And now we're looking at data from 5 countries together, but you can also filter just on maybe one country if you want to. For instance, only have a look at how you're performing in the UK. You can also, just filter on specific platforms that you're using, like Google Ads, Bing, Facebook, AdRoll, and whatever else you guys are using. You can also then go to channels, which could be more granular. So for instance, you can see here you can, for instance, divide Facebook to Facebook remarketing, Facebook organic, and Facebook paid, for instance. So it's a bit more granular. But you can also go on the level of campaign. And this is also a huge game changer because, on the background, we actually have a new algorithm that automatically pairs the campaigns between the platforms and your web analytics. What I mean by that is that in web analytics, you only have the UTM parameters like campaign, source, medium, and then on the side of the platform, you would have the campaign name or ad group name. And now we have an algorithm that can pair these two things. Now, obviously, you're probably used in Google Analytics. You can see this on Google Ads because Google does that. Google Analytics does that natively. But within Revenue, you can do this with all of your platforms, and you can pair all campaigns from all platforms. Now, we are using some hashed data here in our demo data set. So you just see some gobbled up names of the campaigns, but you would actually, on your own data, you would see your real campaign names here. And this would be across all of your platforms. And you can also use this filter. So for instance, if you would be naming your campaign something like Black Friday, or something like that, you could just type it here and it would select all of the campaigns that are related to Black Friday across all of your platforms. Now, I don't have that here because this is a scrambled names, but you would really see that. Maybe I can show that functionality here so that we can just filter all Facebook channels here. So that works like magic, but also, as I was telling you, you can add your own custom dimensions. So for instance, we created here in the demo for you to have a look, the see, think, do, care, and you can, just maybe visualize the results of all of the campaigns that are in the do phase. And as I was saying, the filters can interact with each other. So, you can be looking at do only in the UK, for instance, and maybe only on Facebook as well. So we believe this is really powerful, and this gives you a way of working with your data that no other tool is giving you, whether it's your in-house built BI or whether it's any other attribution tool that is out there. Now, I would also like to spend a couple seconds here in the Dimension Explorer, which serves, as I was telling you, to dig deeper on a specific dimension and measure. So for instance, right now we're looking at dimension website and measure marketing investment. So you can see how in time and also in total you were spending across different countries, across different markets, but you can also maybe have a look at something like, let's say, see, think, do, care, and you can put like revenue. So which campaigns in these different phases are driving the most revenue to you, or you can have a look at channels. And again, see which channels are driving the most revenue or the most ROI or whatever else. Now, of course, if the chart gets a little busy, you can also unselect some of the lines that you can see here, so that it gets a little bit more readable as well. Cool. So, there's a lot of that's new in here. You can also see things that you were used from version 1 that I didn't even have in the slides, but obviously are still in the platform. So all of your favorite modules that you were used to working with in ROIVENUE 1 are still here. For instance, Budget Optimizer, which is a predictive analytics engine that actually tells you how could you distribute your budget better so that you can achieve more results. And you can see here how much you were investing in specific channels in the last period, how much the algorithm would suggest that you change the investment, and what's the estimated effect on revenue, profit, or marketing profit, which is a profit minus investment. So in this particular example, you can see the recommendation is to increase the spend by 16K, and it should result in an increase of marketing profit of 38K. So this is the way, and obviously you can still see also the detail for every channel as you were used to in version 1, where you see your historical data, you see the curve that that is talking about the data, and you can see the recommendation to spend more in this particular example, and you can toggle between how it looks on revenue, on profit, and marketing profit as well. What is also new is we have redone targets, and this is something where you can evaluate how you're doing on different KPIs. So for instance, if you have your marketing plans, your budget plans for a specific year, you can upload them into ROIVENUE, and you can upload the thresholds there, and then you would see on a daily basis how your actual performance on that day stacks against your plans. So for instance, if you are on the target or above the target, the particular day is green. If you are, let's say, a little bit off the target, but still in the margin where you're comfortable, it could be, let's say, on in an orange color. And if you're below your target for that particular day, it is in red. So you can have as many targets here as you'd like. And that way, if you open this up every morning, you will immediately see, are we on targets? Are we on plans? Or is something going and we need to fix it? Obviously, a lot of the other modules that you're used to, like other expenses, where you can upload your non-API costs. So for instance, like cost of agencies or cost of creatives, the data exports, connectors, all of that is still here, and we're obviously planning on adding more features this year as we go. So I would like to maybe summarize a little bit here. What is ROIVENUE 2.0 really all about? We have really tried to optimize this new version for the e-commerce use case, because that's where most of our customers now belong to. And we believe there's nothing like it on the market for you if you're working in an e-commerce, and if you have responsibility over budget, and if you need a better analytics tool. This was really put together to suit your needs the most. And it was put together based on a very detailed feedback and feature requests that we got from our customers and our prospects alike. The really good news for our current clients is that all of these new cool things are coming for free to you. So we're running this as a free upgrade. The pricing stays completely the same. We're not even planning to increase pricing this year. and all of the new features that we're going to add are still going to be there for the same price. The good news for you guys who are not yet our customers is that if you're liking what you're seeing, maybe you would like to try it out, because we have launched this just last week. We are running a special promotion, which is 10% off on the first year of usage, and that is also true if you're on a month-to-month plan. The good news for both, let's say, current clients and future clients is that we are now also offering free connectors. And if you're on the data integration or attribution plan, you have this as part of the plan for free as well. So you can actually have the functionality of Supermetrics included at no additional cost. So for those of you who maybe run Supermetrics and ROIVENUE in parallel till now, you can save, you can get rid of some of that cost, because the functionality of connectors is now free for all of our current clients as well. So that'd be all. Thank you very much for coming in on the webinar. And now, if you'd like, we still have a couple minutes so that I can take any questions from the audience. Again, just as a reminder, you can ask the questions in the Q&A functionality on Zoom, and then I'll try to answer as many of those as I could. Okay, so I see we have our first question here. Okay, so the question is, did you see any difference between RNN and Markov? So I guess the question is, what is the difference between the new model and the old model in results that it was giving? So what we saw is, as I was saying, the new model was much more robust. So in cases where there was little traffic or a small amount of conversions, and the Markov chain model would tend to be really volatile. So it could give, let's say, both a lot of bonus and a lot of penalization to campaigns, as it was really volatile. So this new model solves that, and now we don't see that volatility with low traffic campaigns no more, which is great because it's now much more reliable. And also we have seen, we run these two models in parallel on a number of clients for a number of months, and from our experience with attribution and with how different channels actually behave, so let's say how affiliate channels really behave and how different affiliate campaigns would behave in the marketing mix, we actually believe that the new model represents the real contribution of the channels better. And now it would be quite complicated to go into this orally here on the webinar, but here we have actually written a whole white paper about the differences. So if you're interested in this, I cannot see who asked this question, but if you're really interested in the details, you can write us an email at hello@roivenue.com, and we can send you a link to that white paper and you can read more about that. Okay, another question is, how fresh is your data? So the answer is very simple. It's as fresh as humanly possible. We are downloading the data every day. So when you go to work every morning, you already have results from the previous day. The data is not real time, and the reason why it's not real time is very simple, because most platforms, APIs don't actually provide real-time data. So, it's not possible for us to get it to you sooner. But, this is, as I said, as soon as possible, basically, you could have that. You have that in Revenue. And also, a side note is all of the reports, all of the exports, and everything refreshes automatically every day. So you don't have to worry about anything. All right. Another question, is your software able to tell us which campaigns drive the most valuable traffic, e.g. users who purchase repeatedly? Yes, of course. And then let me maybe show this to you in the platform itself. Because as you can see here on the top, we have a visualization of the whole funnel. And maybe what wasn't spelled out explicitly is that we're using three main data source types. So we're getting this part of the funnel from your marketing platforms like Facebook and Google Ads, etc. We're getting this part of the funnel from your web analytics, which in most cases is Google Analytics, and we're getting this part of the funnel from our backend system, which is, and this is only optional. So if you don't want to give us the information about your margin, etc., or whatever, you don't have to. But most clients are actually opting in for this optional model as well, and this is connecting to your backend data, whether this sits in a data warehouse or in your ERP or CRM, whatever that is. We're also getting this, and so we can pull all of your orders history so that we see how much or how many or how frequently every single customer is buying, and we can model what's the customer lifetime value of these clients. And because we are pairing this whole funnel together into one coherent data set, because we're connecting your backend data with your Google Analytics data through an order ID, and we are connecting your Google Analytics data with the platform's data through UTMs and campaign names. And then so that we really have the visibility of how much is every single campaign driving revenue for you and profit for you, but also longer customer lifetime value, or let's say more valuable customers. And we can also put these customers in different segments. Now, this is not something you could do straight out of here, out of the front end, but we have the data to do this, and we're doing this for a number of our clients in a form of data export that is then visualized in a business intelligence like Power BI, for instance. So if you are interested in this use case, you can reach out to your client success manager if you're a current client, or to our representatives if you're not yet, and they will come up with the best way of how you can put this together. Okay, and let me take a last question. That's how long does it take from the contract sign off to have the analytics up and running? This is also something we've worked quite hard in the recent years, and we got the implementation time down to, on average, less than a week. Now, in some cases, we're even up and running within a day or two. If you really want to try this out, if if you want to see it for yourself, don't be shy to reach out, and you can, next week actually have the data and see the results for yourself. With that being said, thank you very much for being here today, for spending the morning hour with us at ROIVENUE. We're doing this for you, so it's really great to see you every single time. If you've seen something that you liked and you're a current client, you can, and you didn't have a chance to experiment with this particular feature yet, you can always reach out to your client success manager, and he would be more than happy to have a screen share with you and maybe help you put that feature into use. If you're not a client yet, you can reach to any representative that you were in touch with over the past months and years, and we will be also more than happy to do a screen share. As I said, if you came late to this webinar, no worries. We will send you a recording after this, and you can maybe watch the bit that you missed. And that's probably all from me. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of the day and a nice weekend. Be safe, guys, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you at some other opportunity.